been using both a Garmin and an Apple Watch for quite some time now, and in this video, I'm going to tell you exactly why the Garmin kicks the butt of the Apple Watch. If you're new around here, welcome. You're not just subscribing to a tech channel. We're a tech channel with a mission. When you watch and subscribe and comment, you're helping us to be able to fund our mission of providing free videos to nonprofits and organizations doing good work for good people. And you're also helping us to be able to fund our family homestead so we can give back to the community through education, food, and resources. So thank you for partnering with us, and thank you for subscribing. So battery life is one of the main advantages of the Garmin over the Apple Watch. This particular model, the Instinct Solar 3 Tactical Edition, gets 40 days of battery on a full charge. That's with all the features turned on. That's kind of impressive when you consider that the Apple Watch Ultra really only gets 2 or 3 days on a full charge. Now, I'm not here to just talk specs at you. Anybody can look up specs or see any other video. I'm talking about real world use cases. And I use this thing all the time as my daily watch. But I just like it. I like the simplicity of it. Not to mention, when it comes to sleep and waking up in the middle of the night, I have young kids, I'm up all the time in the middle of the night. Having something like a dedicated flashlight on my wrist is just plain awesome. When it comes to the Garmin, this watch is completely at home in the outdoors, in places like this. Just being out in the sunlight, it charges the battery up. I can be outside for a few hours and get a few days worth of battery life. That's insane. The Apple Watch, on the other hand, is more the opposite. Being out in the sunlight tends to drain it, it overheats it, and it becomes a bit of a nuisance. You're constantly looking for shade for something like that. But with this thing, I want it to eat up the sun's rays. And when it comes to smarts, it's no Apple Watch by any means, but it's smart enough. I can get my phone calls and my text messages, and that's really all I care about. See, I actually like notification management when it comes to this watch better than the Apple Watch. See, when it comes to the Apple Watch, the watch only sees the notifications that you allow to come through from the phone, whereas the Garmin more has a suppressive filter in place at the app level. For instance, I tell Garmin I only want to receive phone calls and I only want to receive text messages and not app notifications, which is anything outside of a phone call or a text message. Those notifications still make their way to the watch, but not in a way that buzzes me, but in a way that shows up as a list. So even though I'm only going to get buzzed for phone calls and text messages, I still have the ability to jump into the notifications on my watch and quickly view if there was an email or a reminder or anything else that came through on my phone. I can kind of view a basic list of all the notifications that are on my phone, even though I didn't get buzzed for them. And that's something I actually find extremely useful. Now let's talk about this screen. Out here in the Colorado sun, seeing a screen is actually a bit of a challenge, especially when it's OLED or an LCD screen. But this guy, being a memory and pixel display, even in the brightest sunlight, I can still see it perfectly. In fact, the sun even helps it. The brighter environment, the easier it is to read the screen. And knowing that it's getting a solar charge just being out here and I can read it, it's kind of sweet. Because to be honest, I'm kind of over the whole OLED thing. I'm over having a screen on my wrist that's a touch screen. I'm over having colorful displays on my wrist. I'm tired of it. I just want something that's simple, easy to read, glanceable, and that works well, and isn't a distraction for me, my kids, or anybody around me. There she is. But it's not all awesome all the time. There are a few things I'm not crazy about. Namely the fact that there's really no crash detection with this watch when compared to the Apple Watch. So let's say I'm way out here and something bad happens. If I fall down or crash on my bike, I'm not able to get help easily if I'm struggling and can't get up. And that's not super great. Another thing that's not as awesome is the charging situation. Because it's a proprietary cable, it means that you have to keep that specific cable on you all the time. And that's not awesome. But the trade-off is there in the fact that you only have to charge it every other month. So with that in mind, and with the solar power capabilities in mind, it's not too bad. In fact, I picked up a whole bunch of these little keychain adapters. They're just little plugs that plug into the Garmin. I'll link them in the description below, but they give it USB-C capabilities. And so I just have one on my keys, and so I just forget about where a charger even is if I need it, and then I can plug straight into USB-C from my keychain whenever I need it, and that's pretty awesome. A lot of people complain that they don't like this old-fashioned feeling menu system where you have to click the buttons and scroll through the various menus and sub-menus to find the options that you need, but I find I really like it. It makes it so that I can quickly get the information I need to without having to think about it. I can be wearing gloves, the Garmin can be in my sleeve, and I can still access exactly what I need to. Simplicity is better in my book, and I love it. Now, something else I've personally not been crazy about is wrist fatigue and comfort and pain while wearing it. I'm not the only one that's had this issue in wearing a Garmin device, is that my wrist and my fingers and my hands tend to just get achy, and I struggle with that over time wearing the device. I think it's something to do with the sensor on the back pushing in and creating like a pressure point on my wrist in comparison to the Apple Watch's larger sensor. I've messed around with some different bands and gotten it better over time, but still not as good as the Apple Watch experience. So that's something I'm not super crazy about. Another thing is that the Bluetooth range is actually quite bad. If I'm leaving my phone in the other room, let's say, or if I get more than 50 feet away, or if there's a wall between me and it, it will just simply not connect, and I'll miss messages and I'll miss calls that way, as opposed to something like the Apple Watch, which will stay connected for much further distances. And as long as we're talking about connection, having to leave the Garmin Connect app running in the background of my iPhone all the time is necessary if I want to see events like weather or calendar events, relevant information on my watch that's up to date. Otherwise, it'll just give me a blank or empty complication field on my watch. When we're talking about the app experience, Garmin is just better. With proprietary metrics like body battery and stress tracking, Garmin just integrates better and easier into third-party apps like Strava or Training Peaks. Not to mention they have free running plans, whether you're a cycler or a runner, to help you work up to a goal like a 5K or a 10K, and that's all free included in the Garmin app. With the cost of the device, you get access to free software, and that's pretty sweet. It also integrates better with services like AllTrails, so you can pick out a hiking trail like this one and send it to your watch and immediately get either a directional route or a breadcrumb trail, like on my Instinct, that you can follow to get to your path. So I'm not even an athlete, as evidenced by the golden arches in my truck. Don't shame me. But I don't think you have to be to really appreciate a device like this. Something that's simple, just smart enough, but incredibly powerful as a tool for the things that matter, like a flashlight, GPS, navigation tracking, exercising. Those things are really awesome, and that's what I love about the Garmin. So we'll get our workout saved here, and then I pull up the phone and it's immediately there in the phone. I can see all the data and all the information, and all the parts where I pulled over to make a short clip for you. I can import that into Strava, and it imports directly into my sleep score and my overall training readiness. But to be honest, all I care about is just collecting really cool hikes and some badges. So overall, who is a Garmin for? Well, I'd say at this point, almost anybody. Most people, what I've found, just use Apple Watches for phone calls or text messages that are coming in. And so the Garmin covers that very well. As soon as you want to get into additional apps, then you kind of fall apart. The experience begins to fall apart a little bit. But if you're talking just basic phone calls and text message notifications and just a watch that serves you, you don't have to think about plugging it in. It's always there. It's always ready when you need it. And this is it. It truly functions as a tool instead of more like a pet or a Tamagotchi, right? If you're a 90s or 2000s kid, you'll understand that reference. But the Apple Watch needs babysitting. It needs to be charged. It needs to be taken care of. And this simply just exists as a tool. And that's way better in my book.